Hi, I'm George Cox, and welcome to this edition of WestfordCAT News for October 3rd, 2014, where we bring you the latest town happenings, school reports, and much more. Stay tuned. Nancy Cook was honored as Volunteer of the Year by the Greater Lowell Community Foundation recently in their annual Celebrate Giving event at the Westford Regency this month. Cook, a Forge Village resident, helped raise over $50,000 this year for suicide prevention efforts, while also helping with renovation of the Westford Knight Monument and helping terminally ill cancer patients.
I am incredibly nervous. I'm incredibly humbled by being chosen for this with the wealth of people that donate their time. I'm overwhelmed.
The Greater Lowell Community Foundation also awarded a grant for $7,500 to the Rodenbush Community Center to help bring new musical artists to Rodenbush and the Parish Center for the Arts. The grant might be the first of many coming to Westford as the event held the announcement of a new nonprofit initiative known as the Westford Fund. Led by Cook, Patty Mason, Dan Bush, Cheryl Serpi, and Robert Rakevich, the fund aims to raise money for the initiatives that make Westford a better community. On September 22nd, firefighters began the week by delivering a baby at Central Fire Station on Main Street. The delivery was made at 4:50 a.m., with the mother and the child later being sent to Lowell General Hospital. We want to wish them the very best. Red Hat, which employs hundreds at its Westford facility on Littleton Road, announced last week that it has bought the Irish-based company Feed Henry. The Irish company is known as a provider of enterprise-based mobile and online apps, which Red Hat hopes to integrate into its existing enterprise cloud app development tools. The announcement came ahead of Red Hat's second quarter earnings report, where Red Hat executives announced a nearly 20% over-the-year quarterly revenue increase from the 2014 fiscal year. What do you do when you combine a lending library and a mailbox? It's a trend that's sweeping the nation. Now it's right here in Westford on Concord Road. Our very own Andrew Sylvia has more on the story.
In this day and age, people are on the internet more and more, but one woman on Concord Road is trying to bring back a sense of community to reading with her own little library. We took some time to see how she's doing. I'm here with Susan McNeil-Spooler with her little library. Tell us about this.
This is a little free library. I initially bought it in Minneapolis, Minnesota at Settigren's Hardware, and this version of the little free library is called an Amish two-story. It's waterproof. I had it painted to match my house, and the tile on the roof is the same as it matches on the top of my house. So, welcome to my little free library. We have books of all different types for children, for adults. We even built a little special step stool for kids so that they could step up and have easier access to the books.
So it's almost a way to not just build literacy, but build a community, having neighbors come over and say hello and take a book and leave a book. Tell us, is that like the key of this?
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to do it to make a very loving, heartfelt community connection. And we have, we put the little free library back this far so that people can drive up on the lawn with their car and it will be safe. And then, like I said, the kids can step up onto the step stool we had made and then be able to reach inside and get a book.
Are a lot of people using this thing?
They actually are. I look here every day, and every time there's always something that's missing, and new books are put in there. And I actually I've caught a few people putting books in and taking books out, and I've introduced myself, and they're really thrilled to have this here in our community.
You said you got this from Minneapolis. What thought went into getting this? Why did you get this? Where did this come from?
It came from Settigren's Hardware Store. I was visiting with my friend Lori out in Minneapolis. I was out there for a technical conference, and we were walking around Minneapolis, which is a really lovely city, and everybody had the yards were very close to each other, and many of the homes had them right in front of their houses, and so you had a whole plethora of books to choose from.
So hopefully this will be a trend. I saw on the website for this that there's a lot of these in Africa and other places. It seems like almost like a way to get out of the internet and bring reading back to a community level.
Yes, absolutely, and this is where, to have something real in your hand, not just a Nook or a computer in front of you, to have a real live book that smells and you can feel it and dog ear the pages and all that wonderful stuff that we used to do back when we were kids. So it's wonderful.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Andrew. Great to see you.
For WestfordCAT, I'm Andrew Sylvia.
More information on Little Free Libraries, including how you can get your own, is available at the website littlefreelibrary.org. Cineshore announced that this month it has purchased another company, this one based in New York State. Elman International of Hicksville, New York was purchased for approximately $13.2 million by Cineshore, specifically for assets related to its advanced radio frequency surgical procedures. The acquisition was the latest of several over the last few years for Cineshore, which is known as one of the world's leaders in cosmetic laser technologies. It's fall, and that means the return of school as well as student chefs and hairdressers to our local technical high school. Nashoba Tech announced the return of its restaurant, The Elegant Chef, as well as its hair salon, Cosmo Cuts. Both are fully run by students enrolled in the school's culinary and cosmetology programs, supervised by faculty instructors. This year, The Elegant Chef will focus on new herb-based dishes with ingredients grown on campus in the school's gardens. For reservations and more information about The Elegant Chef, please call 978-692-9958, or to make an appointment or obtain more information about Cosmo Cuts, call 978-692-4711, extension 61. Good weather brought out a record attendance for this year's Fall Festival at the East Boston Camps. Organized by Friends of East Boston Camps, approximately 700 visitors came to this year's festival, sponsored by Circle Health, Westford. The event is one of two major family-oriented festivals at East Boston Camps that occur each year, following the Magic in the Woods Gala that takes place every June. For more information on the Friends of East Boston Camps, you can visit their website. The new Westford Business Association held their kickoff meeting on October 1st at the Regency Hotel. The group aims to follow in the footsteps of the Chelmsford Business Association, providing a network for local businesses to find each other and help share best practices. There's also a hope that the group can help spur charitable efforts in Westford that might otherwise be ignored.
We're really pleased that there's such an embrace of this idea, and that we've been able to capture a little bit of the imagination of many of the businesses, large and small, in town. And our hope is that as we move forward in the next couple of months, that this organization grows to mirror some of our peers that are nearby. Chelmsford Business Association has been very generous with advice to us about how they've grown their organization over the years. They're nearly 400 members strong right now and have got a really great footprint in the town, being able to influence some of the decisions that are being made, as well as really looking to give a voice to what the business community is seeking in town.
The first official meeting of the Westford Business Association will take place on November 13th. Charter memberships are still available for Westford businesses until then for $100. Westford author David Brody is back with another installment in his acclaimed American Templar series. His latest book, The Oath of Nimrod, is the fourth in the series of fictional books that incorporate portions of the legend of the Westford Knight. The legend holds that this medieval knight traveled to Westford over 100 years before Columbus sailed to America. The series led to a movie which debuted in Westford last year, as well as featured appearances for Brody on the Discovery Channel. For more information on the 4 novels, as well as Brody's 3 other books, you can visit his website at davidbrodybooks.com. October marks the 1-year anniversary of the Rangoli Grill at Cornerstone Square, and they're celebrating. There'll be a first anniversary celebration on October 17th from 3 to 5 p.m. and the first annual Rangoli Art Competition on October 18th. The first anniversary celebration is hosted by the Nashoba Valley Chamber of Commerce and the Middlesex West Chamber of Commerce, with State Representative Jim Arciero making a special guest appearance. Admission is free. Please RSVP by email to rashmi@rangoligrill.com. Election Day is fast approaching, and a familiar face to Westford residents will be on the ballot statewide. Former Westford Director of Land Use Management, Angus Jennings, announced his candidacy for Lieutenant Governor on the United Independent Party ticket. Recently, he was a guest on WestfordCAT's 30-minute show, hosted by our very own Patty Stalker.
To be clear, I feel it is squarely the responsibility of the public sector, including at the local level, to provide for the needs of its citizens, including the newest citizens.
Good.
Absolutely, and
Right.
I believe very strongly in social equity and creating opportunity
Absolutely.
for people who have not had opportunities and frankly have been harmed the most by our overheated housing market. The people with the least have been hurt the most. So I'm a strong believer in creating opportunities, creating homes for people to live.
Great.
But I believe that can happen in the context of home rule, not by overruling local planning priorities, but in fact by channeling that growth in ways that are consistent with those priorities.
Why would I vote for Falchuk Jennings? Am I throwing my vote away? So how do you respond to, I'm sure you're hearing that on the campaign trail and in probably every interview that you do, correct?
The short answer is that Evan Falchuk and I are working very hard every day. We're covering a lot of ground. We see a lot at the grassroots level that is not reflected in the polls, but we know that there is something going on, and people are very excited not just about our candidacy, but about the idea of building a new party and the idea, the opportunity that exists to get in on the ground floor of a new party, because there are many, many people across the Commonwealth and beyond that have had it with the two-party system. We are running for two reasons. We're running to win, and we believe there is a path. We know it's a narrow path, and we know if we are successful, we will achieve what the Lowell Sun early on said would be the upset of the century. We'd certainly love to be part of that. And we also recognize that it's a long road and we may not win. But this is what's so exciting about what we're doing. If we don't win, but we get more than 3% of the vote statewide, the United Independent Party will go from a party designation, which it is right now, to an actual recognized political party. That confers all kinds of benefits in terms of standing and credibility, in terms of fundraising ability, and that allows the United Independent Party to field smart independent candidates across the Commonwealth in 2016. And part of the concern that both Evan Falchuk and I have on our democracy here in the Commonwealth is that so many races at the state House and Senate level are uncontested, cycle after cycle. We feel just as in sports, you know, Magic Johnson and Larry Bird made one another better. Competition makes people better. If we have a democratic system without real competition, we are not getting the healthy exchange of ideas that are really fundamental to the functioning of our democracy.
For more information on Angus Jennings, please visit his website. You can also see the full interview with Jennings on Patty Stalker's show, 30 Minutes, right here at WestfordCAT. Visit our website at westfordcat.org or our YouTube channel. Football season is well underway, and Westford's Junior Grey Ghosts are giving it their all. Westford's 5 teams fell to Lawrence during the last week of September, and they also failed to put up a win against Dracut a week earlier. More information about the Junior Grey Ghosts can be found at their website at westfordghosts.com. Dozens of local residents gathered at Rogers Fire Station in Forge Village recently to talk about a potential community garden in Westford. The effort was led by members of the Agricultural Commission, who learned that starting a community garden was the top interest among participants at this summer's strategic planning retreat at Kimball Farm. If the community garden comes to be, it will most likely be on the corner of Cold Spring and Graniteville Roads. Agricultural Commission Chairwoman Elizabeth Almeida was pleased with the turnout, but there's still a lot of work to do.
We were thrilled with the turnout this evening. with nearly 50 people here to discuss community gardens, community farming, and the future of agriculture in Westford. We're delighted with the enthusiasm, and we have our work cut out for us because our community is expecting a lot of us. So we appreciate people's participation, and we'll let folks know as we move forward.
Participants left the meeting optimistic on the future of this project.
It's a great way to come together as a community and just kind of explore new ideas for the space. It's an interesting project. I mean, it's something that I think would bring the community together to explore new ideas about growing locally. You know, help people learn more about farming. You know, it's a way to bring together the community, I think, in a very responsible way.
We'll have more on this story as it becomes available. Town Manager Jody Ross released her goals for 2015 at the September 30th Board of Selectmen meeting. Most were not controversial, although a heated debate arose over a replacement for the central fire station. Selectman Kelly Ross issued a challenge saying that a new fire station should be a required goal for 2015 and that it should be built without a debt exclusion or an override vote by the town meeting.
I want to make the fire station goal a little more challenging. Okay. I consider the fire station a matter of public safety, something that we must do. We saw all the problems with it presented to us a year ago, and we know it's both in a pretty bad state structurally and also not really, you know, it's a 1970s building for a department that's advanced 40 years since then. So I consider this a must-do, not a nice-to-have. I think must-do items need to be funded with certainty. Like when Town Hall broke and was a condemned empty building, that was a must-do. We had to fix it. We had to find the money to do it. And so we didn't leave that to an override vote, to a debt exclusion vote. We made sure that it fit within the budget so that the funding was there for it, and there was no risk of what happens if we have a debt exclusion and the town votes no on it. Then what do we do with Town Hall? I view the fire station in the same category. We can't put it up for a debt exclusion vote that raises people's taxes that they might vote no on, and then what do? We're stuck with an inadequate, structurally unsound building that, or structurally deficient building that just isn't right. So I would like to challenge the town manager and the finance director to make it a priority to fit funding of the fire station into the budget without making people have to make the choice between public safety and tax increases.
Jody Ross replied that she would do the best she could do to make this priority a reality, but that she could not guarantee a new fire station in 2015 under the town's current fiscal restraints.
I think we'll do the best we can, but I think that's a tall order to ask me to commit to that before A, I know how much the building's even going to cost, and B, what are all the other needs that the town has. I mean, I certainly think it's an important building for the town, but you know, the town does have choices here too, and they have a choice whether they want a new fire station or not. And so I'll do my best, but I'm not comfortable saying that I think I can, you know, commit to that goal next year.
Earlier in the meeting, experts came before the board to talk about a new study that will look at potential locations for the new fire station as well as a possible fourth fire station in Parker Village. Town meeting voters turned down a proposal in the fall of 2013 to look at a new fire station on Boston Road just north of exit 32. Westford is known for its great schools, and it recently got an award from a financial website. NerdWallet has named Westford as Best School District for Your Buck in Massachusetts. The study looked at standardized test scores, college readiness, and class size. Belmont came in at number 2, followed by Holliston, Mansfield, and Hopkinton. Way to go, Westford. Our very own Jeff Hall visited the Westford Fire Department with Chief Joe Targ. Here's a clip.
Chief Joe Targ. Joe's been the chief of the fire department now for almost a year, Joe.
Almost a year, yeah.
Remember you came on as an interim and now full-time.
Correct, yeah.
Fire department. Joe, can you give us a little bit of your background, how you got involved?
Sure. We started, myself and a couple of the other guys started out young back in the 70s. There was auxiliary fire department, and it was under the Civil Defense Agency. And a name from the past is Harold Hoover. Used to run the civil defense. He was a civil defense director. Now that we call it emergency management director. But he used to have where he could take young people between 16 and 21 to be on this call or auxiliary department. It was very limited what you could do. They gave you gear that you really couldn't go in a building, but you could assist at scenes and fire scenes. You could train. We did our own training, and we trained with the call fire department at the time, because I was in the 70s. There was no full-time department.
So you was auxiliary, and there was call, and there was no full-time department in the 70s. That didn't become until 85, yeah?
Yeah, no full-time. So we used to have our own training with Harold, and then they allowed us to go with the other group. You couldn't drive the vehicles, you couldn't enter a burning building, you couldn't assist on medicals because you weren't EMTs. But there was a lot that you could do, and it was very exciting for someone to be 16 years old to take this on, and have the fire truck and working with the equipment, and it was just something that a lot of us that tried it at the time, we really enjoyed it.
For all of us at Westford Cat, we want to thank you for watching. And remember, we're having our live Halloween Spooktacular on Sunday, October 26th from 1 to 3 p.m., hosted by our very own Ike Keltz and a special appearance by the PDT Girls. If you have a show idea, please drop us a line at westfordcat.org. My name is George Cox. Thank you for joining us, and remember, don't watch TV, make it. We'll see you again next time.